All right, guys, welcome to the WWE podcast Mailbag. And tonight, it's all about the listeners, all about you guys who can call in and leave your voicemails or email me your voicemail at realwwepodcast@gmail.com. So let me give you that number right off the top. If you're a new listener or you've just been thinking about calling in and you forgot that number, here's that number if you'd like to call in. 518-952-0247. So there you go. Alrighty, well, let's get to it, guys. Let's get to the very first voicemail and see who it is.
Hey, Matt, it's Brad from Pennsylvania. I did a little bit of fantasy booking for you. I think I just missed your mailbag, but this isn't really time sensitive, and it doesn't really matter to me if you put it on the show or not. I just wanted to see what you think it is. Drew McIntyre's next opponent after AJ Styles, because I feel like AJ is just going to be a one-off to kind of fill some space for TLC, but I think Drew McIntyre and Karrion Kross would be an awesome program. I think they could do a long, slow build, especially I think Kross might still be hurt, not back yet, but you could have stuff start happening to McIntyre and people are not really quite sure what's going on, maybe towards the end of the show and the show goes away and black screen, something like that for a couple weeks, and then after a little bit then I forget what they call them, things with the fans, the TikTok that Scarlett would leave in the ring. They could have one of them sitting somewhere, and then people could start speculating. Maybe it's Karrion Kross, and then one of the weeks Scarlett could come down. And I would actually like to see the two of them have a long program with absolutely no contact whatsoever, and then have the two of them face off at WrestleMania. Either you have Kross win the Royal Rumble, and that be his first step. That could be how he comes into the quote-unquote main roster. Or you could have just have them, build it up and have them face off, and then the winner of the Rumble could face Roman. Let me know what you think. I think that would be an awesome match. So I'll see you, buddy. Hope you're doing well.
Hey, Brad. Funny you mentioned Karrion Kross, because as you mentioned that, I was scrolling through my Twitter feed, and who pops up and who's trending but Karrion Kross. Why? Because he returned to NXT tonight and went after Damian Priest. So there could be an absolute possibility that your theory of fantasy booking does come to fruition. I'm certainly not ruling it out. If it were to happen, there would be hints of that at the Royal Rumble. Like you said, he could win the Royal Rumble. I would say he's a very, very, very big long shot. But we'll have to see where the cards fall prior to the Royal Rumble. If we get any indications that people may be leaving NXT to go to Raw or SmackDown. But that's a matchup that I agree could be special. The presence of both are similar. They're both very physical. They have very big statures. They're very large men, muscular. That could be a hell of a match. But does that mean WWE is going to move forward with it? I mean, your guess is as good as mine, but if you booked it and they went through with it, I'd watch it. Absolutely. So I haven't even really thought about who Drew McIntyre's opponent could be. I mean, it could be still Roman Reigns for WrestleMania, and they could blow through the Goldberg thing at Royal Rumble. We'll have to see where things fall. There's a lot of possibilities. It really could be Roman versus Drew. Yeah, it really could be. And Roman or Drew wins the Rumble if he drops the belt beforehand and then challenges Roman Reigns. But I like it. I like it, Brad. Thanks for calling in. Okay, let's get to number 2.
Hey, Matt. It's Kyle from New York. Sorry, I brain fart for a second. So when you get this voicemail, you might not read this voicemail until next week in your next voicemail, in your next mailbag episode. So this voicemail is from Thursday, December 3rd. So as of today, supposedly, I don't know if you heard about this news yet, but Triple H had a conference call for NXT TakeOver War Games. And in the conference call, Triple H said WWE is actually open to working together with rival promotions. Triple H literally said, on the conference call, he's like, WWE is willing to work with rival promotions and team up and collaborate and stuff. So I wonder what your thoughts are on this. And also, one thing, does that mean WWE could possibly team up with AEW? And if not AEW, maybe Impact or New Japan. Impact Wrestling, New Japan Pro Wrestling, and AEW. Like, because if Triple H is saying this, is he hinting at a future team up? Like, for our promotion? Because why else would he say that? Like, if they've been wanting to team up with Raw Promotions for a long time now, why would Triple H just say it now out of nowhere, out of the blue? So, like, wondering what your thoughts are on it. And, yeah, that's really it. Hope you had a good Thanksgiving, and, thanks.
Hey, Kyle. So, yes, it's December 9th as I answer this question, but it's still relevant. So, first of all, thanks for calling in, and thanks for the question. Here's what I take from Triple H's conference call. I heard the same thing. I listened to it with all of the big wig wrestling website, wrestling news websites, ProWrestling.net, all that. Which, by the way, I'm a huge fan of Jason Powell. Just want to put that out there. Big fan. Love his work. So he didn't pay me to say that. We've never talked in our lives, but big fan of Jason. Anyway, I would take it as this. Here's how I would evaluate and break down what Triple H said about we're open for business. Short answer, I'll believe it when I see it. So here's the thing. Triple H, what's he going to say on that call? Right? What's he going to say? It has to almost be that response, because what's he going to say? Here's how he probably is actually thinking. Here's what WWE internally is thinking. No, I don't think there's any need for us as WWE, being the biggest wrestling promotion in the business, in the industry, to give other wrestling promotions exposure. Why would we do that? Why would we, as WWE, the sports entertainment leader, ever work with companies that are in competition directly with us? That makes no sense. That, my friends, is the true answer. The response Triple H gave was the corporate answer. Again, he almost had to say it. I will be shocked if WWE ever decides to truly team with any organization. It has never happened. Ever. In the history of wrestling existence, that at least as far as I've been watching, that there's ever been a crossover event they've ever had, with talent go in and out of different wrestling promotions. Brock Lesnar is probably the closest you'll ever see, going from UFC to WWE and back to UFC and fighting Mark Hunt and all that. That will be the closest you'll ever see. I really, really doubt they would give AEW exposure at this point, even though that AEW is consistently beating NXT in the ratings every week. It doesn't happen every week, but I'd say 90% of the time it does. Still, doesn't make any sense for them. I would love to see it. I think wrestling fans would love to see it, because if you're a fan of wrestling, that would be a hell of an event if something like that were to happen. WWE versus AEW, or even just, like Kenny Omega's doing with Impact. I just don't think it's in the cards, and I think it's a corporate answer to. It's really about the image of WWE. That, look, we're open to anything. Yeah, all ideas on the table. Yeah, it's all about just the perception. That's what it is. It's the perception of what WWE is like and what they're looking at. It's not necessarily the truth. Behind closed doors, when that conference call ended, Triple H is probably thinking to himself, yeah, over my dead body. It's what that's what I truly believe. I could be dead wrong, but there's been zero proof and zero historical events to prove me otherwise. So, excellent question. Thanks so much, Kyle. Let's get to the next voicemail.
Hey, it's Kyle from Baltimore, Maryland. I just want to talk about the fact that do you believe that Bailey should have went over to Raw at this point? Because I know it wouldn't mean any sense. She was the SmackDown Women's Champion at the time, and it probably would have been a dead giveaway of Sasha winning anyway at Hell in a Cell. But looking back, I think Bailey should have went over to Raw because it's incredible for Asuka to face at this point. She's going after tag team championships again 2 years in a row. That's happening. I think that's stupid, but what do you think about that? Bailey going to Raw at that point? But that was it. Time.
Hey, Kyle. The other Kyle from Baltimore, Maryland. A very loyal listener. Thank you so much. Good question about Bailey. I think Bailey needs to well, I don't think she needs to, but she could benefit from a bit of a reset, a bit of a different environment. I don't know now that they would transfer her to Raw. In hindsight, maybe they should have, but then how would they have gotten the Sasha and Bayley payoff? Which was a big dud, which is honestly, if you're looking at the big Slammy Awards in terms of disappointing storylines and payoffs of storylines, Sasha and Bayley is at the top. I mean, they win every category and every award. They're the only nominee. They really blew it with the Sasha Bayley thing. But Bayley going to Raw now, the only way I think that's possible is a trade. That is the only way this happens, is if there's a trade, a blockbuster trade, maybe Charlotte for Bayley. Like, that's the caliber we're talking, because Charlotte is drafted to Raw, although she's not back yet. She's very, very close. So Bayley, to me, going to Raw, getting a new start, even though I understand we just had the draft, I get it. I'm okay with trades. Trades make sense. Trades happen in all major sports. And in this case, it would make sense that this happens. I mean, we haven't had an official trade in forever. We just have people randomly showing up with no explanation, which is, to me, a lazy way to book things. So I think Bayley coming to Raw would really, really just shake things up for her. But right now she's getting beat by, what she lose to Natalya this week? A flat out clean tap out to Natalya? You talk about a fall from grace of being unbeatable to losing to Natalya? Yeah, we'll have to see if this is a growing trend or if this is just one of those one-offs to elevate Natalya for whatever reason. But right now, it seems to be they're focusing on Bayley versus Bianca Belair, right? Like, that seems to be what they're focused on, at least next for Bayley. So I don't see her moving to Raw anytime soon. But if it happens, it has to happen in a big blockbuster trade, which I'm all for. I'm all for trades occasionally happening, because they create news. They create, a lot of different potential matchups. But I wouldn't do it often. And it has to have some parameters, and it has to be something that is done in a way that feels sports-like, right? Like, not just, boom, it happens. Well, who authorized it? Does Adam Pearce call Adam Pearce? Because who else is running the other show? Adam Pearce seems to be running both. So, okay, on to the next voicemail.
Hi, Matt. This is Solomon from Denver calling about the theme songs. I just listened to the SmackDown review, and I wanted to give my top 5 theme songs from the Ruthless Aggression era. My 5th favorite is Kurt Angle's, then John Cena's is my 4th, then Edge's is my 3rd favorite, then Triple H is my 2nd favorite, and Randy Orton's is my favorite. Thanks. Bye.
Hey, Solomon. So not a whole lot to comment on here. All of these lists are certainly subjective. Not a bad list. I certainly would take some of those myself. And I'm sure you're enjoying that Randy Orton hasn't changed his theme song in about, 15 years maybe. So, hey, great list. Appreciate the feedback. I'm glad that you were able to get in and get your voice on the show and let everyone know what your top 5 is. If anybody has, things like that, hey, by all means, it doesn't always have to be a question, comment. It can also just be like a statement, right? I mean, WWE loves to send messages and statements all the time. We certainly welcome those as well. So, alrighty, on to the next voicemail.
Hey, Matt, it's Josh from Texas again. First off, I just want to say that I'm really loving the Highs and Lows show that you have put together with, I think it's Mims. I forget what her name is. And but it's really awesome. And then I've also really enjoyed the voicemail show. I like that you put it into one show. But real quick, so I heard a rumor that Kevin Owens is going to win at TLC because Big E is going to interfere. So then I heard the rumor that The Rock's probably not going to happen, which it is what it is. But anyway, so Kevin Owens is supposed to win. Big E's supposed to turn into like his bodyguard, supposedly, and then turns on Kevin Owens, gets the championship from him, and then starts a feud with Reigns. I just wanted to see what your thoughts on that are, if you think it's kind of crazy, which I think it's kind of out there, but I've heard it in 2 different spots now and I've read up on a little bit. But yeah, let me know what you think.
Hey, Josh. Interesting question. And I have not heard that rumor about Big E interfering on behalf of Kevin Owens to cause Roman Reigns to lose the championship. I'll say this. I'm not a fan. And here's why I'm not a fan of that. Especially the part about him being a bodyguard for Kevin Owens and then turning on Kevin Owens. And then this seems to me a little bit backwards because Big E is a guy that you're supposed to be having a massive solo career for. We're all looking forward to Big E shooting up the ladder and eventually challenging for the championship and winning. I don't think the best course of action for him is to team with someone else, to be a bodyguard for someone else. I understand he'll turn on him and all that, but to me, it's a little bit, 3 steps back, 1 step forward, meaning you're still back. So I'm not a fan of that because it doesn't really put Big E in the best light. Plus, I think there's an organic love for Big E. I think that Big E has the hearts of fans, one, and he could be a great babyface if he just starts to shed the whole New Day feeling. And I think he will, and he seems to be over time that he will. I hope he does, because they've started to change his music. That's a good step in the right direction. I don't need him wearing the silly New Day outfits out to the ring. I mean, he seems to be changing his entrance a little bit. That's good. It's progress. It's moving forward. That's what we need to do for Big E. So for me, I think that that would be a bad idea. Turning Big E heel is also not a good idea. Making him a bodyguard for somebody else, meaning he's kind of secondary to Kevin Owens as champion, meaning you're also turning Kevin Owens heel. But if you're not, then you're keeping them babyface. But if you're babyface, then you shouldn't need a bodyguard. There's just so many levels to this that I don't like. A lot of levels. So I hope that rumor's not true. I think that's a terrible way. And then I'm not saying your idea, Josh, is bad. I'm saying the idea you heard of rumors floating around that fantasy booking is just a bad idea for all involved, everyone involved. And plus, I don't want Roman to lose the belt. I mean, there's now I'm like adding layers upon layers of reasons that I hope this doesn't happen. So, okay, let's get to the next voicemail.
Hey, how you guys doing? That's the Casual Wrestling Fan. Hey, I just want to hit a couple quick points with you. First, I want to say I'm double downing on my prediction. Drew McIntyre will lose the WWE, is he champ or Universal champ? Either one. He will lose his belt at TLC. The way that they're doing the storyline, it just seems like they're setting up for it. Him and Sheamus supposed to be friends. Even when Sheamus kick him in the head, there's no hard feelings. They brought out and everything's cool. AJ Styles is, for whatever reason, working with the Miz and Morrison, setting up for that. And it's a table, ladders, and chairs match. I can see, I'm not saying who Drew will lose it to. I don't know if it'll be AJ Styles. I don't know if Miz will successfully cash in his Money in the Bank. But I really think they're setting it up for him to lose into the Royal Rumble and win out. I understand he can get in as a champ, but I don't see them letting him win as a champ. But maybe I'm wrong and they want to unify the belt. Who knows? My number 2 point, I'm going to hit too quickly. I listened to your Wrestling Raw, your review show for the week, and I know it's your show, you run it how you want to run it, but I particularly didn't care much for it. I normally like your show when you're by yourself, but when it's 2 of you guys in there and you guys both have very, same views, as a wrestling fan, it gets kind of mundane. I like Undisputed because Skip and Shannon, they disagree on everything, and so you can pick a side. And I felt like you guys were just really just agreeing. I mean, 99% of the time you guys agreed on every call, even bashing the Street Profits, who are a great group, and saying you don't know who would like them. Well, people like them. You guys said y'all don't know what's in their cup because you don't need to state what's in the cup because, and I think the problem is you're a little older, so you might not honestly know what's in the cup. Or when your co-host said, "Where's the smoke?" That's a slang terminology, and I don't know if you guys are just a little older, maybe don't understand that. But the Street Profits are a very great group. They red hot. They have great matches. I like the comedy. I think they're fun and entertaining. But that's just me, just a casual wrestling fan. Nobody important. So that's my only problem I had with the show. I felt like it was too, y'all guys agreed and nobody had a difference of opinion. But anyway, that's all I got this week. Talk to you later.
Well, Mr. Casual Wrestling Fan, thank you for your input. Let me address the AJ Styles thing first. I agree that they could drop the belt. Drew could drop the belt, but isn't it a little too soon? I mean, Drew just won it back. He's going to drop it again to AJ Styles. And yes, having Drew McIntyre in the Rumble is certainly appealing, but I'm not sold on it, but I'm also not against it completely to think that that's not in the realm of possibility. So I definitely think it's a possibility. If I'm a betting man, I would say no. I mean, I would say that's not probably the road they'll go. But again, we'll have to see if they drop any more hints this coming Monday on Raw. As far as your your comments about our show, listen, our show, look, it's not for everybody. I understand that. When we have co-hosts on, I always say to everyone, you need to be just honest, right? Like, I'm not looking for anyone to be an act. I'm not looking for somebody to just be a contrarian just to be a contrarian, because I don't think that's genuine, right? So I would love to have people that are on that have a difference of opinion, but I also love when they, we agree on things, because then you're able to have a very coherent thought. You're able to have a very unified front, which I understand. Some people like to listen to the back and forth and be able to pick a side. I get it. But again, I have no problem with any of my co-hosts. I mean, I know that, again, some people love the diverse conversation, and we do agree on a lot on Monday Night Raw. And look, the whole Street Profits thing, we know what the smoke means. I mean, we know what it is. Are we really asking what's in his cup? No. It's more of the gimmick itself that we have a problem with. We understand the slang. We know what it means, right? Anyone could Google it. Very simple, too, if you don't know what it means. And it's also with the red cup thing. Like, we obviously know there's nothing actually in his cup. It's just breaking down what the problems that we have with the gimmick are. And are they really hot because they're organically hot? Or are they hot because WWE is pushing them to be so? I have my doubts. I really have my doubts if these guys were in an arena right now with fans after what they've done with them over the last 8 months. Again, prior to, people were cheering for him, and I saw the positive reactions. I heard them in person. But what they've done with them over the last 8 months, making them hold championships that they devalued because they were involved in nonsensical crap that WWE put them in, of anything you can do, I can do better, with the whole Viking Raiders. I didn't forget that. That went on for many, many weeks. I don't think a lot of fans forgot about that. It really hurt the Street Profits, hurt the championships, and there's no way around that. There's not even arguable. If anybody wants to come on here and debate me whether or not the anything you can do, I can do better thing was actually valuable for the championships or for Street Profits, I am begging you to come on here. Please. I would love somebody to try to debate me on that, because you're not a wrestling fan if you think that's entertainment. You're not. You're flat out. That was terrible. It's a terrible attempt at comedy. I think the Street Profits themselves are not funny at all. I mean, they're just not. They're excellent in the ring. They're certainly stars of the future, but their current gimmick of standing side by side, commenting on everything going on, again, they're not talking to each other. They're talking to the camera, but then they're supposed to be talking to each other, and they are commenting on everything. Everything has to be fam. Everything has to be a joke. It's not my thing, and I'm sure a lot of people like them, but that's what wrestling podcasts are for. Not everything you hear you're going to agree with. I am just very off-put by their personalities. They are, I don't like, if they were a heel team, yes, hell yes. To me, they are an excellent heel team. I really believe that as a heel, they could excel even further than as a babyface team. Montez Ford is clearly the star of that group, but I'm not a fan of having to watch them every single week over exuberant about something that they're not even involved in. Going off, standing next to each other, looking at the camera, not looking at each other while talking to each other, and everything is we want the smoke. Well, I mean, of course we know what that means, but okay, I'm going on a tangent here, going on a rant. But listen, I appreciate the honest feedback. So it's probably listening, some people is like, why didn't you just edit that out of your voicemail? No. I'm not going to edit any of that out. I want that on the show because that's honest feedback. It's me reacting to honest feedback, and I appreciate it. So, really, call back anytime. I really do need to hear this stuff because I want the show to improve for everyone. So, thank you. Okay, moving on.
Oh, hey, Matt. It's Bevan from Australia here. Hope you're well. Just watched Monday Night Raw yesterday, which was Tuesday for me. Sorry, been a long night. I just thought I enjoyed it for parts of it, and then there were parts that were just plain annoying. But you covered that in your podcast anyway. Something I picked up in the Firefly Funhouse when they were doing that game show, I think it was, and they had the 3 characters on their buzzers. The X's underneath each of the contestants' buzzers were, to me, it looked like the Scottish flag. So was that their little show off that they'd defeated Nikki Cross? I thought I paused it and had another look, and I was trying to work out if it was the white cross and then the blue background, and I think it was. So yeah, I thought that might have been a cheeky little slide that, hey, we've also managed to convert or I don't know what the word is, influence Nikki Cross's future. So yeah, I thought, just wondering if you noticed that too, or was it maybe just a black with a white cross in it? Maybe it's my eyes. Yeah, and also just probably looking forward to Asuka losing the belt, because unfortunately, and this is just a product of her not being able to probably speak in a way we may be used to, and that doesn't really allow her to be in a meaningful storyline, because it's really hard to get a storyline to fit her. She's very loud, I suppose, and just the usual. Sorry, I'm losing my word. Just the usual phrases she uses. No one's ready for Oscar, and that's really it. And then just the words she uses in her own mother language, which unfortunately doesn't translate to a good story. So I'm looking forward to someone taking the belt off her, and then hopefully maybe Alexa Bliss can have a run with her new character. I think that would be fun. But yeah, anyway, hope you're well, and thanks again for the great show. Cheers. Bye.
Bevan, also good to hear from you as well. Thank you for your questions. I didn't pick up on that with the game contestants and the Scottish flag. I mean, I didn't look at that level of detail, but perhaps I should with Bray Wyatt. Bray Wyatt's a guy that is intent on detail. He's a guy that he rewards fans for the paying attention to some of the little things he does. I mean, you could do an entire thesis on the Firefly Funhouse match with John Cena at WrestleMania. I mean, you really could spend hours and hours and hours dissecting frame by frame everything that went on. I think that's how much thought went into it, and there was a lot to dissect in that match. Again, not my favorite match at all, because I wouldn't call it a match. It was just a theatrical presentation. But that's how Bray Wyatt functions in his character. There's so many levels, so many layers, so many Easter eggs, so many red herrings, meaning he puts things down that may not mean anything, but he wants you to think they mean something, and you're on a goose chase, a wild goose chase. So you're absolutely right. It could be Nikki Cross. I don't know what is in the future of Nikki Cross. I hope that she maybe ends up doing the if you can't beat him, join him thing with Alexa Bliss, who was sadly off Raw this week. I missed her this week. And I would love to see Alexa Bliss capture the Raw Women's Championship. Her as champion is infinitely more interesting than what they're doing with Asuka over the last, my God, how many months? Which is, the answer is nothing. The answer is nothing. They've done nothing with Asuka. So I would love Alexa Bliss as champion. Her and maybe Nikki Cross turning a little bit dark too would be brilliant. I love that. I think that has a lot of value. And again, as I mentioned, I love how the WWE is creating Alexa Bliss's own storyline. It's not just she's the Fiend's sidekick or the possessed body that the Fiend has captured. She has her own story arc. That's what I love. And her as champion, gloating around with the evil smile would be awesome, and having Nikki Cross join her in the if you can't beat him, join him type of thing. Or maybe the Fiend, she sacrifices herself to the Fiend, and the next week on Raw, she's turned just as dark and evil as Alexa. There's a lot you can do. There's a lot you can do, and I'm loving everything that's going on in my brain right now with this, but we'll see if that actually happens. Great little nugget there. I appreciate the insight. And everyone, pay attention to Bray Wyatt's Firefly Funhouses. There's so many little things in there that you don't really realize are there until maybe you go back and watch it a second or third time. All right, and on to our final voicemail. And actually, this one just came in. I was about to end the show, and this one came in at the last possible second. So let's find out who it is, and we'll end the show there.
Hey, Matt, how are you, pal? This is Anthony from Long Island. Just got done watching Raw, the Hulu version, and a couple of thoughts. Wanted to get your opinion. Shayna Baszler and Nia Jax. I just don't see any chemistry between them two. It seems forced. Maybe they're just both bad actors. I don't get it. But they just don't seem believable. And they both have really good talents. They're both pretty decent characters. I ain't just saying vibing them together. Wanted to get your thoughts. As far as the Sheamus and McIntyre stuff going on, I kind of like it. I think their WWE creative is going out in front with the fact that everybody's saying that Sheamus is going to turn on them, turn on McIntyre, and it's been pretty cool. I kind of like the way they're going with it, and I really am looking forward to TLC. I think AJ Styles and McIntyre, I think they're actually going to be really good together, and my prediction is I think we're going to finally see, what are they calling him? Amos get some in-ring action. I'm fascinated by him. He's another big guy, and I love to see what he could do in the ring. I think it's actually going to be a pretty cool TLC. I'm looking forward to it, and like I said, just wanted to get your thoughts on a couple of those questions. And as always, my shout out to you. You do it the right way. You're the best out there, and I look forward to hearing your answers, my friend. Enjoy your day, pal.
Hey, Anthony. So no better way to end the show than with Anthony. So thank you for calling in. You literally just made the cutoff. I like I just said, I was cutting off the show. I was about to say goodbye, and I had to pause, stop, download the voicemail, and then play it. So congrats, you just made it through. And so, okay, here's my thoughts on Shayna Baszler and Nia Jax. I agree with you that they do feel forced, or felt forced more at the beginning. They still feel forced, but not as bad. It seems as if, and as the weeks go by, they're starting to develop some kind of chemistry with one another on air. It's not peanut butter and jelly. They're still oil and water, but it's not as egregious as it once was. Are they both terrible actors? Yes, at times they are. Sometimes they're just really bad. Because Shayna Baszler is playing a role that she has no business playing, in showing some kind of empathy or being some kind of comedy heel character with Nia. It's not where Shayna Baszler thrives, right? Nia Jax, I think, is kind of the same Nia Jax. She is the dominant big woman in the division. She's after Lana, who continues to slide victories past her. And Shayna Baszler and her teaming up. I always view when all of a sudden you get a tag team out of nowhere, it tells me that they have nothing for those individuals and they just threw them together as a team. And that is what I have learned over the years. It means that they had nothing for them in a singles career and they just, again, put them together. Plus the fact that the women's tag team division isn't exactly deep. I mean, name the tag teams in the women's division. It's a very small list. So, as far as your thoughts on the big man, Amos, I believe it's Amos. I'm with you. Sometimes I can't really get it right, but I'm fascinated by him as well. His presence is unmistakable. I'm really looking forward to him and Drew going face to face at TLC, which they will. I don't know what that will entail, if they will end up making Amos look really strong or using Drew McIntyre in a way that, elevates him even further to be able to take someone like him down. What I think is he gives Amos a Claymore after he gets himself, involved in the match, and then he still is standing, right? Like, he's able to get the best of him, but the guy's still standing, where nobody's ever taken a Claymore and just been able to either immediately pop up or just stumble and not fall down. That is how I view that interaction going, where Drew gets the best of him, but it doesn't take the guy down. It's going to be a fascinating face-off, and one that I wish that we were in front of fans to see, because that instant reaction from fans would really fuel that moment. And we'll get the pumped-in crowd noise, and that's the best that WWE can do. I'm not faulting them, but we are missing out on that instant crowd reaction. I'm with you, and we'll have to see. And maybe your prediction comes true. Maybe AJ does get the belt. A lot of people are really aiming towards that. A lot of people, more than I thought, are really looking to AJ winning that belt and thinking that that's going to happen. And either WWE is doing a good job of planting doubt in our minds, or there's a true plan in place that I'm missing and I'm not buying into yet. But Anthony, thank you so much. Thank you for the comments and the kind words. Much appreciated you as a listener, and I hope that you're a long-time one. So, all right. Well, I think that does it for me tonight, guys. No more voicemails. I'm hitting stop. I am dead tired. It is nearly midnight here where I am working, and I have to get up tomorrow for work. So, guys, thank you so much. Again, call us. If you want to call us, here's that number one last time, 518-952-0247, or you can email us at realwwepodcast@gmail.com if you have a comment, question, or you can, again, send a voicemail through that method as well. So thank you, everybody. Enjoy your day, and I will be talking to you soon.